Clapper back here, Wrestling Travel on the YouTube channel. We are live. Well, it's not live when they're watching it, but I'm here with Melvin Nerd Rage Hayes. How are you, Melvin?
Well, hi, everybody. I'm really glad to be here. I'm doing great. Just sitting here in my mom's basement in the nerdery and just super pumped to be talking to someone.
Fantastic. Now, Melvin, we had this conversation a week ago, but the interview was so nice that we're going to do it twice. We had little technical hiccups. So there's going to be no curveballs here. So
Okay.
we are doing this interview based on you helped us out a couple weeks ago already. It's been since WrestleMania. We raised $3,300 plus for the Red Cross.
Fantastic.
You were a big part of that. So, yeah, we wanted to thank you. And what we wanted to do was get everybody to know a little bit about Nerd Rage Melvin Hayes. Now, you are up in the great Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Am I right?
That's right. Yeah, we are right there. That is the most Michigan way I can describe anything to anyone.
Fantastic. Now, I'm a little bit south of you, but has the snow started to dissipate? Are you getting some warmer temperatures?
It hit 61 today, so that was really awesome. It was 37 yesterday and snowing the day before.
Wow.
So, you know what they say about Michigan? If you don't like the weather, wait for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and that is the first time I've used dissipate in a sentence in a long time. So I'm
excellent. Well done.
So tell me a little bit about Nerd Rage Melvin Hayes. How long have you been in the business? When did you start your wrestling career?
Okay, so that's kind of a complicated story because there's pauses and chunks that are missing. I started training back in 2000 with Randy Miller and Supreme Brett Powers. So Brett Powers and I go way back. We've had quite a feud and even tagged up once or twice. But so I started in 2000 to 2001. Didn't have a first match, but I got the snot kicked out of me for the better part of that year and some change. I think it took 4 or 5 months for me to get my first offensive move in. So that one was pretty special because I didn't get another one for another few months after that. I just kept on taking beatings and beatings and beatings. And I guess that's kind of the way it goes. But then I joined the Army in 2001 and got out in 2004. And part of my brain was just totally pumped on, I'm going to make this wrestling thing happen. But then, life happened. Became a little bit more important than just about anything else. Like we were talking, I'm a recovering alcoholic. Have 11 years. Yeah, about 11 and a half years of sobriety in. So that's super cool kid accomplishment. So between 2005 and 2009. I had attended a couple camps here and there. 2008 was when I got myself cleaned up and really started taking life a little bit more seriously. And 2011, I finally had my first match. So
growing up, a young Melvin Hayes watches pro wrestling and falls in love with pro wrestling because of who? Who are you watching? Who were you watching growing up?
I would sit on. Started out on my dad's lap watching Hulk Hogan, Rowdy Roddy Piper, Macho Man, and the big crew from the 80s. And my grandpa and my dad were the two that I watched. As I started watching guys more like Bret Hart and Mr. Perfect, I remember very vividly watching 1, 2, 3 Kid with my grandfather. Grandpa said, he's so young, he's just learning his ABCs and his 1, 2, 3s. That really sticks out in my brain. So the 1, 2, 3 Kid was a favorite of mine because he looked like a kid and I was a kid at the time, and I thought, well, if he can do this, I can too. My mother tells me that she remembers me wrestling with my stuffed animals as young as like when I was maybe 2. And kind of a funny story about all that is not only did I do that when I was young, I would do that like at 12, 13 years old, and I would have storylines, and I would even lose to my stuffed animals on occasion just to play it out in my own. I was actually a pro wrestler.
Fantastic. Sorry, I was looking down at my phone because I did want to share this with you that I know
No,
that
that's
you
perfect.
like, and we will lead to another story of somebody who I know
No, the Baron.
got it.
Ah,
Yeah, got an awesome chance to. I met the Baron when I was a kid, but just last fall, Great Lakes Championship Wrestling, Dave Hero brought the Baron and Gangrel up very close, and I said, I tried. We're all marks. There's
oh,
no way I was gonna leave that without getting a picture with the Baron. So
I don't know. Absolutely. I remember that. I really, really wanted to go to that show, but I think something came up at home and I just wasn't able to. I was super bummed about it. 'Cause I would absolutely love to meet the Baron. That was my dad's favorite wrestler, and he's one of mine too. He's such a fantastic presence. I don't really know how else to describe him. He's cool to watch.
and he's 79 years old in that picture, and he looks better than me. In fact, I'm gonna plug another page. Mick Karch, former AWA ring announcer, has a page that you would probably like if you're not already on it on Facebook. Slick Mick's Old School Wrestling.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm on that one.
Okay, so I shared that picture after I taken it. I said, guys, I just want to show you. This is Baron von Raschke this weekend. 79 years old, and he looks like he could go. And one of the guys in there, and it's nice, we all rib each other, says, Baron looks great. Clapper, not so much. And I'm like, I couldn't more, man.
I
So
mean,
yeah,
I wasn't gonna say it, but everyone's thinking.
I got thick skin. We all got thick skin.
That's
So it's just for because we're out of the UK, so we go all over the world just in case there are some youngsters watching. That's Baron von Raschke. Look him up. The man has had a very long and incredible career. NWA, AWA. He's been most hated and most
WWE
loved.
a little bit. He managed, I think he managed or Warlord and Barbarian back in the day.
Powers of Pain. And you know what? And young Justin Clapper was very upset about that when he saw them on TV because that meant he had moved from the AWA and I wasn't going to be able to see him at any live events. But
Poor young Justin.
I know. Hats off to that. So, Melvin, you're in the great state of Michigan, which borders the great state of Wisconsin. Your NFL team, would it be the Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings, or something totally different?
Well, usually when people ask me that, I tell them I prefer to watch real sports like pro wrestling. But when I watch, I go for the Lions. My old man was a big Lions fan, so that just kind of came naturally. I was never able to really get into football. It just wasn't my thing. I mean, I like playing it. I think that's fun. But when it comes to sitting and watching a game, I'm good for maybe a quarter, and then I got to get up and go do something.
Now, fans that are watching these videos back to back will realize, because I just interviewed Garrison Creed prior to you, asked him the same question, and he gave me kind of a similar answer. And I'm like, but neither one of you, I'm going to let you throw from my journalistic integrity here. The reason why I bring it up is it is NFL draft weekend. So I wanted to kind of keep with the theme. If Melvin Hayes were to start his own wrestling promotion today, and you could pick anybody from wrestling history, whether it's independents, WWE, AEW, whether they're here or they have passed on, it's a question that I don't want to answer, but I want to throw it to you. Who would be your number one draft pick? You could pick from all time to start a federation.
Oh, man. So if I was to build a federation around someone, that someone would be Nick Bockwinkel. Because I absolutely love what he did. To me, he was guys like him and Flair were like the pinnacle. They were the coolest. Bockwinkel, for me, the way he used the English language in his interviews was just wow. It was just stunning. Like his presence alone would bring so much to a professional wrestling event. stuff like that, just punching each little word home. And thinking back to when I was a kid, I just wanted to strangle him because he was being such a smart aleck. But man, looking at him now, I'm like, oh. I would also want to bring in Classy Freddie Blassie, because there was a bad guy that was well ahead of his time. There's a couple stories that I've read in his autobiography that just, it blows my mind how hated he was. Like, truly, like, absolutely hated. I read a story about him shaking a Yakuza fella's hand and like tugging on the pinky, because when they would make a mistake or something, they would chop off a part of a finger. So he would grip onto that and wiggle it real quick. And bigger man than I am, there is no way in heck I would ever do something like that. But so there's two guys that I would bring in, absolutely. And then to play the foil to these dastardly villains, I think I would want Cena, truly. For a long time, I was on the bandwagon of we hate Cena, but as I watch him go along, that man carried, and I think to some extent is still carrying WWE from 2005 to now. He had big, broad shoulders to put all that stuff on, and he is, watching him wrestle, watching the stuff that he does outside of the ring, that's truly the kind of guy that I would bank on as a strong asset.
Yeah, speaking on all three of those, Nick Bockwinkel, we discussed it the last interview. If you own the Mr. Perfect DVD, or if you have the network, if you can find it, November 15th, 1986. And I didn't memorize this before this, but I know that it's a 1 hour time limit draw between Nick Bockwinkel and Kurt Hennig in the AWA, and it aired New Year's Eve, 1986. It's a classic. It's
I watched that match and watched it on repeat, and I'm shuffling around down here because I think that I've got my wrestling DVDs right at my feet, and that one's right towards the top. I mean, I can. We'll just trust that it's right up towards.
I trust you. The funny thing about that is
old wrestling posters and DVDs and notebooks full of stuff that I've randomly thought of.
The funny thing about that match is I've thought about it since I was a kid. I have a severe DVD collection of WWE stuff. I went on that Slick Mick cart, not to promote that, but it's a great Facebook, and said, hey, does anybody know? I couldn't find it on YouTube. And this guy goes, if you have the Mr. Perfect DVD, it's part of the extras. And I'm like, what an idiot. I've had that DVD sitting there for years and didn't realize that I had it there. So that's fantastic. Your next one, Classy Freddie Blassie,
yeah.
The famous phrase, you pencil neck geek. I just wanted to be able to call you that live on an interview just because you brought him up. And we're froze up here, but I'm going to keep talking. Hopefully that it's recording.
Yeah, I don't want it being called that.
And Cena, very lucky to be in the right place at the right time in a former quote-unquote real job. Was at the Manhattan Sports Media Conference. Years ago, Cena was in a sling. Got a chance to meet him, talk to him about his training, talked to him for like 10, 15 minutes because everybody was afraid to go up and bother him. But he had said, hey, I'm at the bar, come say hello, I'm hurt. So I thought, let's go say hi. Got some great pictures with him, and the guy's great for business. The guy, you couldn't have picked a better guy because, and I think Vince knows he can take the ball and run, and you can trust him. He's going to be at the radio spots on time. He's going to be there. Great guy. So, very good picks. I asked Garrison Creed the same question, and he picked one, but he went with Dusty Rhodes, which was like, man, there's so many good picks. Yeah. And when I was like, thought about these, yeah, the guy can entertain and the guy can train your entire roster, How great.
Yeah, for sure.
When I was thinking about this question, the one that I waffle on is, Jerry Lawler. The longevity of his career, he's wrestled Flair, he's wrestled Bockwinkel, Kerry Von Erich at Superclass 3, all you AWA fans. So, yeah, good question for draft weekend, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Very good question. I like that one. And I got to make sure that we mention some of our awesome talent here in the Midwest too. Wisconsin is hot. There are some super good guys. Minnesota too. Illinois. I don't know as many from down that way because I don't get out much. My mom doesn't let me go out too often, but and got of course Upper Michigan. I love my Upper Michigan boys and the Lower Peninsula too. Everyone loves a good troll. It's funny, below the bridge. Trolls.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of great talent. I know that you are entered. Tiny Love is having a promo battle.
That's right. Yeah, I was hoping we'd get to talk.
You're skirting that line between Wisconsin only, and you're just a stone's throw across the border. So
true. Almost literal spitting distance.
Yeah. And he's going to do a promo battle, a tournament of 32 guys. And we're hopefully a lot of people here might be watching by the time this gets out and going, that people can catch that. And I'll run a little graphic across so people can, the fans can vote on who does the best promo. Yeah. One of those things to keep us busy during these weird times.
I think it's going to be great because it gives us all a chance to look at what we're doing and see where improvements can be made, and keep our brains fresh, keep our eyes on the prize. During this time where we can't have events and can't do matches and stuff, you've got to try to come out just a little bit better in any way possible, even if it means just coming up the same. Because I know that I got to throw that. I really appreciate all of everything that they're doing, and I don't want people to feel like you have to come out of this with a new skill. I mean, even if you come out like just baseline where you were, that's phenomenal.
Now, am I right? Am I recalling correct that you drew Judge Jesse in the first round?
I did. Yes. The judge and I we've had a couple matches, and he's a tough opponent. There's no doubt in my mind about that. The man is he's good. Trained under Chris Jericho, and he's really something.
Yes, I'm hoping to get an interview with Judge in here so the fans can get to know him, because he's a talented man that's been around for a long time. I actually spoke with Tiny Love, and when he told me that it was Nerd Rage Melvin Hayes and Judge Jesse in the first round, you don't know how disappointed I was, because I have respect for both of you guys, and I'm like, I don't want one of these guys to get knocked out in the first round, but that's what we do. You go big or go home. It was a legit draw, Tiny said. He didn't want to, and I respect him for that. He didn't want to space it out, but I was trying to tell him, hey, NFL teams script out their first 15 plays. Let's spread these out. But I said, well, whatever. Let's it'll be fun. Let's see what happens. So, in closing, because I do know that before we started this, you told me that your mom was making dinner and that you could not be late for dinner.
That's right. She gets very upset when I'm late to the table, and I do have to wash my hands as well.
Absolutely. So in closing, what I wanted to leave you with the last word is wrestling fans from around the world hopefully are going to be watching this on YouTube. We're going to like and share, but how can I look at that fancy, nice looking t-shirt you have? How can I follow Nerd Rage Melvin Hayes if I'm from the UK? What are your social medias? Can I find you on YouTube? Can I buy a shirt? This is your time to push Nerd Rage Melvin Hayes to the masses.
Okay. Like the shameless self-promoter I am, you can find me on Facebook at on Facebook.com. The Dude Hayes is my personal one. I think The Wrestling Nerd is my Melvin one. I am at The Dude Hayes on Twitter. YouTube.com/AJ Hayes. You can find my guitar performances, my wrestling, and some other nonsense. I do have t-shirts on Teespring. You can look up Melvin's Mom's Store. But in the same breath as that, I do want to tell people, look for some other wrestlers' t-shirts to buy, especially during this time. I'm still working, so I'm okay, but there are wrestlers that they're missing out on a significant chunk of their money. So make sure that you look up, kind of pay attention to Twitter, Facebook, whatever favorite wrestlers you follow, and if someone seems to be struggling or maybe makes mention of a little financial hardship, buy one of their shirts instead. I'll be okay. I mean, if you want to support me, that's super cool, because I love seeing my T-shirts around, because it builds up my ego a little bit. But I do want to make sure that my brothers in the business are being taken care of.
Great message, Melvin Hayes. One of the things I do look forward to, and I know we talked about it last time, and I think it's going to happen. I think these first few shows, and hopefully the shows from now on, after we get through this, are going to be awesome. And I think one of the best things for a guy like you, I don't mean to put words into your mouth, but to be able to see the fans just clamoring to go to these shows, because I think there's going to be an energy the first show that you are back and the fans are back.
Absolutely going to be. I think it's going to be huge. I mean, I'm going to be super pumped, and it's going to be probably one of those rare occasions where I'm not working, working for the night, having a match. I'll probably, I just want to be a part of the feel again. It's missing. That's like missing my right arm.
100%. So, for Wrestling Travel, and on behalf of Melvin Hayes, we thank you again for your time. You helped us out with Mania Crawl. If there's anything that Wrestling Travel can do for you in the future, I know I usually say this off camera, but we're always here to help. Whether you're an indie guy on your second day, or whether you've been in the WWE for 100 years, Wrestling Travel is always here to help. So I thank you, Melvin. I do not want to see you get grounded, though, so we are going to cut this short. So thank you very much, sir.
That's my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, and everyone take care, be safe, stay healthy, and I'll tell my mom you all said hi.